Good evening and welcome to the author's Outpost, Episode 7. I'm Captain P.F. Dennis, and with me...
Is he actually on time for his cue, Gasmodian?
Excellent. See, we're getting into a rhythm now. Anyway, we have a special show tonight. We have a monthly author profile that we've decided to do. I won't explain now because I actually explain later on tape. Anyway... It's been a big week, I guess, for Tribble Foundry, anyway. And Cast is here to tell us all the things.
Well, we did a little bit of live stuff on the last show with the addition of the star bases and the starships that we can put on ground. The big takeaway from what they've done is that, one, star bases now exist for star maps. And, as an extra added bonus, we can still have them on the ground.
Awesome.
So Taco Fangs was able to actually get them tagged so that they were dual use. So we actually can do sky castles with star bases in the background or use them as ground decorations because, yeah, I got maybe a few ideas for that. But we can also now put them on space maps. So you can now fight to defend a local star base, which, yeah, is the awesome. We also got a new... an interior map, the Diplomacy Room, which is basically the observation lounge that they created for the First Contact missions.
Was that the... Oh, it's not the one from the 2800?
No, it's the one... If you ever did any of the old cluster ones, it's the one where you'd go talk to like the three alien race guys and
you'd have the
try and convince them that we're not out to like all your base or belong to us.
Right. Yes, I recall.
So we have that now. And originally when it was put in last Friday, it was crashing, which is a bad thing. But that has now been cleared up. You can actually load up into it. The only downside is that it's a really small map as far as it is literally pretty much just the interior with very little on the outside. And there's a space backdrop on it that you can't modify at all. You can kind of throw some walls on it, but it doesn't let you obscure all of it, so you can't make it like dark, deep space or anything like that. Mm-hmm. Or you can't also put anything outside the windows to look at. Because my first thought was, oh, hey, I'll just throw a Vesta out there or something. Nope, not happening.
So it's as is, and that's it.
It's as is, which isn't necessarily a tragedy. But it's...
No, I mean...
It gives us a new map. We can have, like, a briefing with people and stuff now. So, that's a big change.
Yeah, it's a room. It's a room. We can always... I mean, if we can take map transitions on the way in and the way out, you know, it's not so bad.
Right. That, and they updated the Galaxy-class starship for the ground version to use the cleaned up and very pretty Thomas the Cat version, which is the awesome. Because it was using the old model, which, well, the old model was the old model. I still haven't managed to get into the actual game itself to check all the Foundry doors, because they were supposed to have actually changed some of the doors and given us access to stuff.
On Tribble.
Right. This would all be on Tribble, yes. Let's see here. Now I'm just kind of trying to find... Yep, still can't get in through DS9 or Bajor. Let's see, that's the Alpha Quadrant. Let's go here to the Beta Quadrant. What is this? Oh, that's way north of where I should be looking. That's why. One day we'll actually be able to...
My co-host is breaking up a little bit.
Oh. Yeah. Unfortunately, I have no control over that.
No,
That's subspace interference.
That's right. Well, what we've done is we've decided to profile one author, and because of his availability, we pre-recorded the interview in his presence here on the author's Outpost, and I'm going to cue that up now. Here on the Author's Outpost, we've decided to acknowledge one veteran author per month. These are Foundry mainstays that have created multiple missions over the years of consistent participation in Star Trek Online, with a focus on user-generated content. The first of these players that we wish to profile is Rogue Enterprise. He's with us here tonight in the hot seat. He has 14 published missions, 13 Federation, and 1 Klingon. He has a spotlight mission within each faction, First Cause Then Effect on the Fed side, and Hero of the Empire on the Klingon side. Rogue has been a member of Starbase UGC dating back to its early days. He was the project manager for the Purity series and created a daily mission to accompany it. His latest series is Orders, Parts 1, 2, and 3. Please welcome Rogue Enterprise.
Hooray, I'm happy to be here.
Great. Well, you are our first author profile. Let's see.
I mean, you saying all those that list of stuff I've done makes me seem like I'm really old because I've been around for so long or something.
Well, you've been around for the 5 years anyway. That's not saying too much.
Not quite a plank holder, but
let me just list them. You have First Cause Then Effect, which is the spotlight on the Fed side. You have Clean Sweep, Good Intentions, Parts 1 and 2, Own Worst Enemy, Flashpoint Q, Orders, Parts 1, 2, and 3, The Search for Niemi, 2 Cloaks, 1 Dagger, War and Q, Purity of the Day, and Hero of the Empire, spotlight on the Klingon side. So it's 14 in all.
Oh, that's a lot.
Yeah.
What have I done with my life? Just kidding.
Taken all of our dilithium.
That's exactly right.
Yes, that's true. First Cause and Effect still is the record holder for the most plays, is it not?
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah.
59,000 and change.
That's pretty amazing. I mean, most of mine have like maybe 150 tops, except for the Purity one. Actually, the one that I did that wasn't in the series has more plays, I think, than the actual episode. But it's not about me. All right, so I would say, judging from your missions, that TNG has got to be your favorite series.
Yep.
Yeah, most.
I think I've like blatantly ripped off at least 2 or 3 episodes at this point.
I know.
But heavy inspiration. Yeah.
War and Q comes to mind.
Clean Sweep.
Yep.
About the Baron Sweep.
Yep.
Yeah. And I definitely prefer making Fed missions to Klingon missions. No doubt about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I do too. It's I think it's harder. I think Klingon missions are harder, and I think that there's less people to play them, which doesn't provide much of an incentive.
That's true. Yeah.
Although the one you did do was very good. Hero of the Empire.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Yeah, it was a great mission. Fun. Very fun to play. And funny.
How does that work?
What's that, Cass?
How does it work, a funny Klingon mission?
It's like Worf on TNG, where it's like, how about we do this? And Picard's like, nope. And it's basically just like that, except like a mission.
So it's overly exuberant in its physicality, and the answer is always, nah, flip the switch.
Pretty much.
And you generally take your time between missions. And it's not like you pump them out in any.
Yeah. Like I take long breaks in between them. Even like since Orders came out, that's my most recent. I'm still like months into a break, pretty much.
So how much pre-planning do you do? Because your missions are very, very detailed.
I don't do like a whole lot of pre-planning. I usually it's like concept focused, so I'll get an idea for something and I'll just start. Usually it's a map, and I'll just start building the map.
Mm-hmm.
And then the rest of the mission kind of materializes around it. So I actually all of my outside of Foundry planning is like very minimal. It's like a walkthrough maybe of the mission, and that's it.
But there's also always an interesting mechanic involved, like the respawn trick.
Yeah, exactly.
Why don't you try to explain that to us?
Yeah, if you've played the First Cause and Effect Spotlight, basically, I think a lot of people are starting to use it at this point where you have the player fly by a respawn marker and it activates it, and then the player proceeds to go and die. It's getting harder to do in space because the ships are so OP, but like that you basically have the player die due to overwhelming odds, and then you respawn in the place where the respawn marker is. So it feels like they've been teleported somewhere, basically.
That's cool. That is definitely cool. Because of the limitations of Foundry, we always have to find ways to do interesting things that weren't built into it. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
The old workaround.
And how many people get annoyed at you because you make their ship blow up?
So many. I've had so many people give 1 stars on that mission because they die the first time. They're like, "What is this?" Drop.
Yeah, I know the feeling. I have one map where you keep falling and getting killed and then materializing back. And
oh yeah, do you get 1 stars because of that?
I've had a few people complain. They think that it's an error. They think it's a mistake.
Oh,
and I have to explain that it's just to make it seem surreal. It's to make it seem. But the effect is lost on some players. But I'll live with it. I live with a lot of criticism.
It's part of the.
That's right.
Part of the deal. Yeah.
Yeah. If you have a thin skin, Foundry authoring is probably not for you.
Yeah, it's definitely true.
I noticed the little warning on Own Worst Enemy. You have the list of ships that.
Yes.
Because obviously you can't account for every single one of them.
Yeah, back when that mission first came out, I could.
Yes, right.
There, like once upon a time. But yeah, that mission, like it's basically you fool the map or the game into spawning like a duplicate of your ship.
Right.
But now there's like so many different variants, it's just impossible to do the limitations.
You'd hit your
NPC,
object.
Yeah. It's actually the NPC enemy groups that I ran out of.
And then the good old days of not having to account for Romulan interiors.
That's right. Yeah. Now there's Romulan people too. Yeah, I didn't even think of that.
Well, that's one thing that you don't see a lot of either is people making missions purely for the Romulan faction. There's a few.
Yeah.
There's a few, but
hard to do.
Yeah.
So a non-combat Romulan mission. That's what you're saying needs to be made?
Did I say
it will get 2 plays.
Yeah. I don't think I said that. Yeah, I'm not making one. I haven't made one.
Well, that's not to say non-combat. There will be combat, but it'll all be backstabbing and treachery, so it all happens around you. You create the events. Oh, dear.
So here's a question. What makes a Foundry mission worth making for you? I mean, what elements does it have to have for you to go forward with it?
For me, it's an exercise in doing what I want to do. So, I mean, even orders, I did not do it because there's like a huge demand for it. It's like I want to see if I can make a mission that makes the player out to be the bad guy, basically. So, like, and the same thing with all my missions. That one's just a good example because it's my most recent. So, yeah, it's like, can I do this? Is this interesting to me?
Yeah.
And I mean, hopefully most authors operate that way.
Well, you'd like to think so. I know that any kind of moral conflict written into a mission is usually what I favor. But,
sure.
You get missions that are just purely go from point A to point B and fight some people and, win.
Right, and see, I was sitting here going through orders and just going, okay, I'm just waiting for an admiral or something to show up and say, you need me up on that wall.
You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall.
Because I went right to A Few Good Men while playing it.
Right.
Okay.
Well, because of the central conflict of this man was under orders from, quote, a higher power to defend the frontier against all enemies. He was just doing his job.
And you jerk, you killed him. I just spoiled the entire 3-part series for anyone that hasn't played it.
There's more to it than that. There's more of a reason to play it. Now, your first mission. See, the list that I read off is in no particular order. It's pretty much the way they're listed, probably according to rating. But even that's not so, because I put the series all together, rather than list them separately.
It's pretty close. Yeah.
But your first mission was which?
That was the 2 Cloaks, 1 Dagger mission.
And that was when? I mean, Foundry started in March of 11. It went to holodeck.
Good lord. It must have been during 2011 sometime, or maybe early 2012.
Yeah. So 14 missions over a 5-year period. That's not bad.
What's the math on that? That's like 1 mission every something months?
Oh, yeah. You're asking me to do math?
Well, let's see.
Math. Someone math this.
Yeah.
So it was what? 2 years or 3 years are we counting?
5.
5.
Oh, no.
Well, we didn't have Foundry in 5 years.
Yeah, 4 years.
So 4 years, that's 48 months.
48 divided by 14?
Yep.
It's every like 3.5 months I'll come out with one. Guess that's a decent clip.
That's quarterly.
Yeah, quarterly.
Well, so that's a great pace.
Yeah. Well, the question now becomes, where are you on your next quarter mission?
Yeah, I'm taking a long
Q2.
Yeah. I'm pretty far behind right now. I think I've been taking a pretty long break. I have the next one, but it's like still early in concept, so won't be seeing it for a little while. I really need Taco Fangs to do the ESD interior to make it work. Hopefully.
Well, we have mostly the interior.
Almost so close.
Yeah, we're getting.
I think we can actually load into it now, as of 3/12/2015. Throw the date in there, just for posterity's sake.
I think it's safe to say that we've got more in the Foundry in the last 8 months than we have since it started.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, assets, the more the better. I would like to see some mechanic changes, though, some actual editor improvements.
This may require more pie.
Yeah. Well, I
more
mean,
pie.
There are things that we've wanted for a long time. Teleporters, stuff they already have. I mean, I wouldn't want Neverwinter's editor, but a couple of mechanics would be nice.
They do have a nice editor.
Although they don't have map-based dialogues like we do. I don't think I could make a mission without those.
Yeah, that would make things very difficult to do. Oh, I don't know, like orders. There's a lot of map-based dialogues on orders.
Yes, there is. It's the only way to make the whole damn thing work.
Right? Well, you have to, because they trigger. I can't trigger off storyline dialogue, and that's the thing. I think since the advent, the map-based dialogue, since beginning to use those and learning how to use them well, I have very, very little dialogue in the storyline anymore. There's almost none. It's pretty much reach markers and objectives, but no dialogue. You need it for triggers.
So I have a question for you guys, because you guys are very plot-focused for this podcast.
Yes.
So
we try to.
Mm-hmm.
My missions are, like, kind of plotty. Like, how would you... I mean, is there any commonalities in my missions? Or... Because I'm, like, kind of on the wordy side a little bit, but not... I mean, but I also have PPU, so...
Well, as plot and story people, we don't have a problem with reading.
That's true. I guess I'm asking, are there any commonalities in mine, or what's my style
well,
like,
I will
guess?
say that in most of your missions, I found that you begin the mission with a specific task, and it usually gets interrupted. The things that happen,
or it goes completely off the rails.
Something is, you start off doing one thing and it turns into another thing. Versus, you have an objective right from the start, and it just goes from there. You have usually it's a surprise. Okay. Whatever happens is something that happens outside what your original mission is.
Okay,
and that's a plot device in itself.
You go to investigate a ship, and you get caught into a Bozeman effect. Over.
That's right.
Over and over. Or you're sent to discover what happens to a civilian scientist who's gone quiet in a quietly hushed up planet. And things go horribly wrong on your ship.
Yes. Yes.
Well,
That is the premise.
Without things going horribly wrong, you have no conflict. Conflict is the
Or
key.
Q shows up.
Well, he's conflict incarnate.
That's true.
Or she, as the case may be.
Yeah, in this case, yeah.
But, that's one commonality I find. But there wouldn't be an author profile if it had nothing to do with story. Because those are really the authors that are going to be on here. Because that's what we focus on.
Right.
To me, that's what the Foundry is for. It's a storytelling device. It's not, I don't know, I suppose it can be used for dropping enemies onto a map and just, testing out new ship loadouts, but doesn't require much imagination. And I guess that's what it is. Creativity and imagination are the main elements here. I don't think that we'll probably interview the authors of
the grinders.
Of grinders, no.
Unless they find a unique way to make it an epic plot-filled.
Well, then it won't be a grinder anymore.
That's the challenge now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Make a grinder that's very story-based.
Yeah.
Make it happen, Internet.
I suppose it could happen.
So, some say there already is one, but it's not my cup of tea.
Which one?
Well, it would be a story mission with just a whole lot of combat.
Well, yes, it's a lot of combat with a dialogue tree along with it, really.
Oh, is this the Negus mission?
No, Negus is usually really good about stuff. No, I'm referring to the infamous Admiral Bobo.
Yes, of course.
Well.
Do you develop your missions? Do you come up with like a specific scene and say, okay, now I have to somehow justify the scene, or is?
I'll come up with like a thing. So either it's like the mechanic in First Cause and Effect, or like a concept, like in Orders, it was like, can I, execute on this plot setup, and then everything else will usually materialize around it. So often, and like I said, often it's like a map. So like I have one mission where you you fly inside a planet, and so that is exactly how the thing started. I was like, I wonder if I can make the player fly into a planet, and then I just made up a whole mission around it.
I understand that. Sometimes I'll do the same thing where you find some little trick that's pretty cool, and you say, okay, well, how can I use this now? How can I build a story around this one thing?
So when you guys build, do you usually do it like plot based? Because for example, like sometimes mine are mechanics based, right? Like on First Cause and Effect, that's a mechanic, whereas in Orders, that was a plot like hook.
I would say I've done both. I would say, like right now, I'm coming up with a way to destroy a planet.
Okay.
And I'm building a mission around that. But it's only part of it. Like, it'll be one scene in a mission, but it was enough to make me want to build a mission.
Right.
It's not something I said, well, I'll use that someday when I come up with a plot. It was something I said, well, that's pretty cool. I'm going to use that now. I'm going to build something around it, and maybe another one. I'll find 2 tricks I want to stick in one mission and build something around it. And other times...
there are people that do that, right? Like they'll come up, they'll be like, wow, this map will be awesome. And then they build it, and then they're like, damn, I don't have like a mission to go with this. And so they just leave it.
I have done it the other way, where it's just purely story. And then, you have to build things into it afterward. And there are sometimes there are no tricks at all. It's just a straight out story. I think my first mission was that way. Chronotons and Klingons was just because of TNG and the Worf storyline.
Sure.
I
think like a hook doesn't have to be a mechanic. It can be a plot thing too, right? Like totally.
Sure. The first question was, what happened at the Kinema Massacre? That was the question. Right. And so I made the mission.
Right. Totally.
There are several ways to approach it. And I think that any of us who have been around for any amount of, of time since the Foundry began have probably run into all of them.
Sure.
As far as Foundry goes, and as far as Starbase UGC goes, you're always trying to promote projects and authors, always trying to get reviews going.
Right.
Why do you think that it's so important?
To get people playing new stuff, or
why is it important to you? Why Foundry and not the rest of the game?
Well, for me, like Foundry, like everyone that's an author, it's kept me like in the game a lot. So like the feature is important to me because I get a lot of enjoyment out of it personally. And things I do, so I do a couple things like directly on the forums. Like one is post the new missions on Starbase UGC, and the second is like that new mission playing group basically. And I do those because it's like as a community of authors, it's often like very hard to get us like actually playing because we're so like often like concerned with our own stuff. So like to me it's like what's the word I'm looking for? It benefits us to have people playing like new, like some dude's first mission, because then if if a guy plays a mission and doesn't get, or makes a mission and doesn't get any plays, it's kind of like, oh, I wasted my time. But if we get people making them and then people play them and then they're in the community and then they play for a long time,
right?
That benefits everyone.
And it grows the community.
Exactly.
Long-lasting authors who are in for the long haul.
I hope so.
Yes.
I hope so, at least.
Well, it is the only steady source of new content in the game.
Yeah.
I mean,
right now it's true.
And sometimes better than what we get. I would say that's true for a lot of it, for a lot of Foundry missions. And it's too bad most players don't get that.
Yeah.
I think that there's a general consensus out there that it's trash. I mean, at least that's what I've seen on the forums, of people say, I'll never play a Foundry mission. I just, and I'm like, why? You don't know what you're missing.
Yeah. It's just one of those things where you have to get the awareness out there. And I try to just do what I can to try and help that. And I'm sure you guys too, having the podcast, that helps that too. So
we've tried over the years. And you and I started with the bite-sized UGC and moved into prime time, and prime time lasted a while, but unfortunately it just became too much. It's just, it's hard.
It is a lot, yeah.
And the more it began to break down, demo record is not the tool it used to be, and it became very difficult to do. Hours and hours and editing, and it was crazy. Crazy. Well, you make the demos, then you change the costumes, then you have to record it with fraps, then you cut the scenes up, and then you add the dialogue. It's just it's just terrible.
It's pretty rough, yeah.
And just, I think there's close to 40 episodes, which,
that's a lot.
It is. Yeah, I never thought it would go that long, but,
And now
that's right. Now we've arrived.
We are now svelte and nimble.
Yes. Well, it requires
that audio only cuts out a lot of work.
Well, yes, but because there's video involved, I find myself still in the editor a lot. But it's really just to make alterations. I'll do the intro and the end credits and maybe some stuff in between. When we review a mission, I'll put some video stuff together. But it's not voiceovers and editing animation like that. It's completely different. Well, actually, that's all I have in my notes. So, Cast, unless you can think of anything that you'd like to ask.
Well, we covered how first cause and effect actually works.
That's true.
Because, that one had bugged me for a long time. Because that was one thing I don't ever remember seeing the respawn marker trigger.
Yeah, usually you get the
flyover.
Yeah, I think the way I did it is I literally have you go scan the anomaly before each time it happens, and that's where it triggers.
It's misdirection.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Sleight of hand. Little sleight of hand.
Yeah. That's the thing that we should probably do, is demonstrate some of these things. Now I've got a tutorial I'm working on for timers. Just something I use a great deal. And I know people have complained that it doesn't work, but my way seems to always work. So I'm gonna put it up. It's all about the invisible box.
Those invisible walls are fickle.
Yes,
though.
but you have to, that's because you have to place them outside the attraction zone, that 10-meter bubble. You have to place them just outside so it spawns, but it doesn't. The mobs aren't, enticed to leave the box to go to enter another battle. You have to have them focused on the enemy you drop in front of them. But I have had good luck with it, so I'm going to be presenting that soon. I've also wanted to do live demonstrations, but we haven't built up the chat room audience enough yet for that to happen. But
yeah.
But if somebody wants to see something done, I'll do it.
Yeah, sounds like a good idea.
Even they can even mail it in to mailbag at theauthorsoutpost.com. If you need to see something demonstrated, you're baffled about something, you want to see something work, I will show you how it works.
If it's a mission we haven't played, please, by all means, tell us what it is.
Yes, and we have that. Borrowed Toon mailed us. He wanted us to play his mission. We played his mission, and we had him on.
Very good.
And definitely want other people to see the visuals he created, because he put a lot of effort into those ground maps.
Yes, and it was his first mission.
Oh, really?
Yes.
He's been around a long time, too. It must have definitely put a long time into that.
Well, and that's what a lot of people will do, is they'll spend 40 hours working on maps, and then that's why we want to see more people get recognition, because if you get 5 plays and you spent 6 months working on a mission, yeah, that just doesn't fly.
Kind of sucks a little bit, yeah.
Which, have you ever had a story idea just not work out? Like, could not get it to come together whatsoever?
I had a map, I had a mission that, like, mechanically just, like, I built the whole thing, and I released it, but, like, it's like a mechanical part of it, like, just broke, and I just couldn't get it to, I think it was like a pathing, like, I was too fancy, I'd, like, floors disappear and that kind of stuff. So I think I still have it in the editor, but it's unpublished, and I was just like, this isn't gonna work.
Because, well, you say fancy. Orders is a pretty fancy mission.
You have to, like, pick your battles, and I picked the wrong battles in that mission. Like, in order to fix it, I would have had to rebuild the entire thing, or, like, a couple of really complex maps, and I just wanted to move on to better things, or different things instead. But so it is possible. Don't get too fancy, or get fancy about the right stuff.
Or there's something that you want to pull off that no matter what you try, you just can't do it. I mean,
yeah,
I've run it.
Although that becomes pretty obvious in, like, the building phase, though, and testing phase.
Because I've been trying to build, like, a observation room, and it's not coming together right.
It
happens for sure.
Remember the days when you couldn't beam a character out of the scene? I mean,
Oh my gosh, that's like a pretty recent update that you could despawn people.
Yeah, I mean,
relatively recent.
That was a game changer.
Yeah, for sure.
Back in my day, we used to drop crates.
That's right. I dropped.
I've done that. Every long-time author's totally done that.
I used to, like, raise people up on platforms, and then when I wanted to beam somebody off, I'd remove the grate underneath them, and they'd fall in.
Yep, I've done that.
Originally, Keeping Up with the Jacens, that's how I did the moral question of, do you put out the fire by opening the bay to space, or if you use the fire suppression system. I just, floor goes away, people dropped, cargo stayed.
Well, that's it. The whole thing is workarounds, and sometimes, it's tough these days to see new ones. A lot of things have already been discovered and done, and it's always interesting to see the one thing that nobody thought of.
Or find that one feature that actually works in your favor.
All right, do you want to move on to the episode discussion now?
We can.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Speaking of things that are unique and...
Well, our episode discussion tonight is on Bread and Circuses from the original series, and that would be Season 2, Episode 25. This is the episode where Kirk and company come upon an Earth-like planet.
They mentioned that several times.
Yeah.
It's very Earth-like.
Yeah.
Extremely Earth-like.
Yes, Kirk was trying to say it wasn't. It had its differences. And Spock kept saying, no, it's the same. But their society is it's an Earth of present day for the mid-60s, where Rome never fell. So the current contemporary culture is a Roman-esque society, where they have televised gladiator contests and the new Jupiter 8 internal combustion vehicle, because they detected smog in the atmosphere. Smog. But yes, the only problem I really had with this episode is that I think it would have been just so easy to get them out of there when they got in trouble.
No transporter inhibitors.
Yeah,
no weird metaphasic radiation.
No, Kirk says to Scotty, code green or whatever it is. And, couldn't they have a code for get us the hell out of here? Transport us up immediately?
Maybe they made some procedural changes after this mission. They're like, damn, we need beam out, but we can't say we need beam out.
You wonder why Riker was the only one allowed to go on the wave missions?
Well,
this episode.
Think about it. I mean, they had to be consistent. This episode, they had, code green or whatever. And in, the other ones, they have Queen to Queen's level 3. They have chess moves. I guess they mix it up a lot in those early 5-year mission days. But I think they could have escaped that a lot more easily than they did. I mean, Scotty ends up causing a blackout for like a split second, and that's what saves the day.
I like how Scotty's like, I can't do anything, but I'm totally gonna make a blackout happen, and it's like a 1-second blackout. You're like, oh my god, Scotty, I love you, but like this is what you're doing every time.
A planet-wide stun, and they just go down there and like.
Yeah, they can stun an entire block of people.
Yeah.
But yeah, and they have a starship capable of leveling the entire planet with no opposition, but they can only cause a 1-second power outage over an area, as opposed to somehow causing an EMP burst to take out all that hardened 1960s technology.
And you'd think that if they made this episode today, you would think that you put a Starfleet crewman into the gladiator ring, he should be able to easily take any opponent from a 1960s, era competition. I mean, these are Starfleet personnel. They're specially trained.
Well, they're not trained with swords and shields.
No, but I mean, they must have.
Not all of them.
They've got to have some military, fight training, sure, especially advanced.
Especially people. Well, at that point, they would have been coming out of. It's not that long after the 4-year war with the Klingons. Garth is still a legendary captain.
That's true. Yeah. Hopefully, his therapy went well, though.
I was going to say this was also one of the examples of religion being brought up in Star Trek.
Yeah, really.
That's true.
Uhura just kind of lays it out there at the end of the episode. It's like, don't you people get it?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, she was sitting around listening to the broadcast, so she probably heard the church channel and discovered that it wasn't the sun up in the sky. Although, you think somebody might have mentioned that when they were down in the cave.
And they bring up the sun all the time.
Yeah.
You just think there's some sort of Helios worshiper or something like that, because they're ancient Romans, and what do they know?
Right, but nobody mentions
the
it.
Machine guns.
Everybody.
Turtlenecks.
Everybody calls them the sun. The sun. Nobody says Jesus. Well, but
his name was probably like Michael.
Yeah, it could have been. Or William B. Harrison. Wasn't that the guy? Guy from the ship who was in the who died in the arena on the news?
Yeah, I think so,
William B. Harrison.
I feel so you can tell the writers were like, this is the same thing as at the Hook for a Foundry mission. It's like, hey guys, it'd be awesome if we did Roman stuff because we have a bunch of Roman props.
Yeah.
On the other side of the lot.
Yeah.
And then they just kind of smushed everything. Because like part of it's awesome. Like gladiators on live TV. That's
Yeah.
like an interesting plot concept, right?
It is. Definitely is, especially
then-
for the time it was released. You know,
Oh,
it's
yeah,
kind of an
sure.
advanced idea. You know, it's
It's like that's reality TV,
yeah,
right?
absolutely.
It's a television show inside of a television show.
That's right. But then, like, in my opinion, it just gets muddied up. It's like, whoa, this is like totally like Earth, and oh my God, they speak English. What a coincidence!
Yeah.
And they even mentioned, like, usually they just kind of like let it slide.
Remarkable
Like,
similarity.
I know, it's like, come on, guys, really?
In an era where you walk around with universal translators
what I'm
that
thinking.
only selectively
How
translate,
do they know? How do they know it's the
I have
native
no-
language when they're wearing universal
I
translators?
have not. They've never really explained like how that functions anyway, as far as like because it's obvious like a TV thing.
Yeah, like
where,
Deep Space Nine,
Yeah.
the Ferengi had them implanted.
oh yeah,
Some
that's
little
right.
green men.
Hmm.
They had to go inside the ear with the with the tool to fix it.
That's right.
But so I guess we can assume that they're implants.
Yeah, it could be.
At least in the 24th century, they were. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, they had just discovered Velcro and TOS.
Yeah.
You know, it was a new thing. Space age material.
yes, from the series that that had an episode where we were going to the moon before the moon actually happened,
Yeah.
but we didn't know what date we were in.
Yep. Well, there were nuclear weapons platforms in the 60s, weren't there? Out in space?
That goes to the Gary
Yes,
Seven stuff,
exactly.
but yeah.
And that didn't.
And where was he when Khan came around?
Yeah, he wasn't that helpful. They protected Earth, for that one time? See, that's an
So-
interesting thing right there.
Where was Aegis when the eugenics wars happened?
Yeah, Colonel Green.
Where are the not the Iconians? We know where the Iconians are. Everywhere. No, where are the Organians?
They're cool. They just stopped that one battle that one time, and then they stopped caring.
Well, that's because we were on the planet.
yeah. That even then.
So they're chill as long as their house isn't
Yeah,
messed
that's
with.
right. Don't bother them.
That's a great like diplomatic strategy. It's like any bad guys, you just like lure them to the Organian planet, and you're like, "Whoa, Organians! I told these guys need to chill out." And the Organians just like come down and regulate. They're like, "You guys will not fight anymore,
Yeah.
or else we will kill everyone."
You shall not war.
The Organians have a lot to do right now. You know? As well, actually, up until this Iconian threat, because the Federation was at war with everyone. Everyone.
We're still kind of at war with everyone.
But that's a premise I don't get. They started the whole
Well-
thing with the Undine, or Species 8472, which last we knew from the series, we were kind of fixing relations with.
Yeah, but that was a Janeway diplomacy mission, and
It was-
anything Janeway related doesn't get shaped.
Don't they
She took
explain it
all
as
of the
the
galaxy's coffee.
Don't they explain it as the Iconians then manipulated them again into
Yeah.
being?
Yeah, and the Bluegills, and the Vardwar, which we're not sure are enemies. It's interesting.
Well, admittedly, the True Way were just a faction of old line Obsidian Order and traditionalists, and we sort of defeated them as well as you can defeat an insurgency.
Well, I'm doing a mission now where they could enter into it a little bit. I'm working on 2. I have 2 in the works. One of them is a time travel mission, which I haven't done since my first one. I've kind of stayed away from that. But I'm doing one where the Dominion War didn't happen. And because the Romulans and Cardassians teamed up and destroyed the Dominion, they became part of the they became the bigger alliance. The Federation was forced to join them.
Okay.
So now there's a huge Alpha Alliance, and it's Cardassians and Romulans and the Federation, and
Except they're in the Beta Quadrant.
well,
Technically speaking.
whatever. I'm just saying. these factions all came together, and the only outsiders are the Klingons. The Klingons and the Tholians.
So you're going to do a mission from the Klingon side of them trying to get their comeuppance?
No, I have to. You have to fix it. You have to force the Dominion War into happening in order to restore the timeline.
Which gives you your wonderful moral crux.
Well, yeah. I mean,
do you kill millions of people?
Exactly. And that's a work in progress. But that's anyway. Any other thoughts on the episode?
It follows, I'll say, the classical sci-fi, I don't want to say tropes of the 60s, but the speculative nature of much of the genre at the time. And of course it fits right into the wheelhouse of using Alien Planet to examine injustice and discrimination on our own, but through somebody else's lens.
Yes, just like the Nazis in that episode.
Space Romans,
yeah.
Space Nazis, Space Gangsters, Space Lincoln.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely felt like I liked the concept. Like I said, like what if Romans like persisted into like reality TV time? But it's also like suffers from the like we have no budget, we have some Roman props, let's use those.
Wow. And to be honest, they did pretty well with what little they had.
Yeah, totally.
What was going on at Paramount? You could probably trace it to what movies came out at the same time.
Yeah, I really want to see some cross-referencing done because I want to know like what are there like. If you watch
when Liz did Cleopatra?
Yeah, well, there you go. Wow, I don't know if they.
Yeah.
When was Ben-Hur made? 1960. Had to be early 60s.
Well, Cleopatra was 63.
Okay. That was when I was born.
Ben-Hur was 59.
Oh, wow. It was that early. I would have said early 60s. Wow. But, I mean, even so, there were probably lower budget movies made that we probably don't even know offhand.
Yeah. I'm guessing it's like some kind of like BTV or something like that, like low budget TV or something.
Oh, sure. I mean, that's like you see, as a more modern example, you see the armor they created for Starship Troopers in all we have a generic military sci-fi movie.
Totally.
Yep. And, there were a lot of experiments with series back then. You think about it. That Gary Seven was supposed to have his own series.
And actually something I found out not that long ago, they were trying to do a Harry Mudd series.
Really?
What?
Yes. I did not know this until, and I have to thank the guys over at Star Trek Axanar for the trivia question, which taught me this, because my answer was Gary Seven. Apparently they were trying to pitch a Harry Mudd-based TV series, so I'm guessing something kind of along the line of maybe like, I don't want to say Mission Impossible is not what I'm aiming for. I think I'm aiming more for, why am I suddenly blanking on it? Simon Templar.
Oh, The Saint.
The Saint, thank you. Something like that, a roguish sort of guy who still does the right thing in the end.
Yeah, he was basically a smuggler.
It's a space pirate with a heart of gold kind of a thing.
Well,
Got it.
They really couldn't do a lot of special. That was very expensive for them to do. So a lot of the Enterprise flying through space was just clips reused and used and.
Battlestar Galactica taught us that one.
Well, how many times in the more modern Trek did they use the Klingon ship exploding?
They used the movie one at least twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Star Trek 6, they used it in Generations, and I think they may have used it in one of the TV series too.
Yeah.
But yeah, they used that scene at least twice.
At least. With the Klingons like flying through the hallway, being sucked out into space. I mean,
yep.
And I mean, even looking at the TV series, I think some of us were talking the other day about the Excelsior bridge they built for Voyager that they've redressed like 20 dozen times.
Yeah, well, that was all done for that anniversary year, where they all had a special show. Voyager had that episode, Flashback, and DS9 had Trials and Tribulations there. that was all done at the same time because it was an anniversary year.
Now, if only we had something to have for an anniversary year this coming year.
Well, you know, we keep hearing rumors about it. We'll see. I would say after the third movie comes out, there'll probably be something on TV.
Hope so. We can only hope.
Well, it seems to, you know, still be popular. The idea of it seems to be popular, especially with the movies. The movies have brought a lot of younger Trek fans out. You can see that at the conventions. All right, then. Guess we'll close out this segment now. Okay. And we're back.
We are?
We are. Yes, it was a pleasure having Rogue Enterprise on the show. It's April's Author Spotlight. Of course, we will have another next month. And to close out, let's give you the addresses. We're at www.theauthorsoutpost.com. You can reach us at mailbag@theauthorsoutpost.com. And our Twitter is @AuthorsOutpost. And our IRC channel is #AuthorSOutpost. And that's going to do it for episode 7. Have a good week, everybody.
Bye, everyone.